It's that time of year again. SummerSlam is upon us, and this is another two-night SummerSlam spectacular. As far as the build-up goes, I'm going to keep it 1,000 wow. It hasn't wowed me. It hasn't been like, man, I can't wait for this PLE. Now, there are a couple of matches that I'm looking forward to seeing how they unfold. A couple of matches that I'm sure are going to be built to those big moments that hopefully provide that Kodak finish. For those that know, they know that's an old head reference. Kodak is like the little snap pictures to get the frame. Anyways, yeah, so, I mean, WrestleMania was a little lackluster. You know, SummerSlam is looking like it's kind of going in that same route, right? I'm not saying that it's going to be a disaster. I'm not saying that the buildup has been poor at all, but it just hasn't given, like, we were promised like SummerSlam was going to be like this WrestleMania of the summer type of event, especially now that they're going to two nights and they're starting to hit stadiums up like WrestleMania did. And the excuse for WrestleMania was that there were injuries and, things needed to be shifted to account for those things, right? I'd be interested to see what the excuse is for SummerSlam, because the build-up to most of these scenarios could have been a whole lot better. And I'm going to talk about the build-up as well, because I'm going to be as completely honest as I possibly can without delving into angry guy on cloud territory, because that's not what I'm here to do. And if you've been following my channel for the last couple of years, as long as I've been doing YouTube content creation, and even before that when I was on other channels and I would talk about professional wrestling, if you know, I had another name at that time, but if you know, I always kept a positive outlook on professional wrestling and what I was viewing, my perspective. And it wasn't to be a rose-colored glasses type of thing. There were things that I genuinely enjoyed. And there's going to be some things that I genuinely enjoy talking about as far as the SummerSlam build-up. But if you if you watched my review for Redemption, it's no different. I kept it classy. That's how I am. I'm not going to sit up there and talk about how the wrestlers are talentless. All that stuff is crazy to me because I've never been in a professional wrestling ring. And I also don't know what goes on behind closed doors. So I'll never speak ill of those that work 24/7 in this business. But what I will be is a critic. And I will tell you from my perspective, if something ain't right, it ain't right. And I'm going to speak about it. And this SummerSlam buildup, I don't know about you guys, but it hasn't sat right with me. It really hasn't. And I'll explain that further as we go over these matches. So let's start with night one, August 1st. Liv Morgan defends her Women's World Championship against Iyosky. This match we have already seen. It was a PLE match, the finals of the Queen of the Ring tournament, and Iyosky became the Queen of the Sky by getting a victory here. She immediately challenged Liv Morgan for the Women's World Championship, seeing as how she just got a win over Liv Morgan. Confidence was high, so it only made sense, right? Liv Morgan has not defended her championship since winning it at WrestleMania. I'm going to say I don't know if it's because they didn't have an opponent for her. I've seen a lot of people saying they just creative didn't have anything for her, so they basically had her as a pseudo manager for the Judgment Day. She managed Dominic, she managed Roxanne, she managed Raquel Rodriguez. She would come out for JD McDonough's matches and whatnot. I'm not going to say that she was just the pseudo manager because creative didn't have anything for her. I think it's possible she might have been injured. She might be resting up. I mean, you remember she got that knot on her head from clunking heads with Roxanne Perez after Stephanie Vaquer attacked them backstage right before WrestleMania. So there could have been something with that, some kind of a protocol, and they just didn't disclose that information. There's a lot that could happen, but I just think it is odd that she hasn't defended the title once. And it's possible she just lost in the Queen of the Ring tournament. It's possible she can go 0 for 2 against Iyosky. And a lot of people are saying that Iyosky should win here. And in my opinion, I just don't see how it works storyline-wise. Right now, Raquel Rodriguez is the Women's Intercontinental Champion. and Liv Morgan is the women's world champion. What is Roxanne doing right now? Not much. And after SummerSlam, we're going to be building, because we'll be 2 months away, just roughly 2 months away from Money in the Bank. Now, what if Roxanne goes to Money in the Bank and wins the Money in the Bank briefcase, and Liv is the women's world champion? So let's just say, for instance, that Liv Morgan was hurt and that she couldn't defend her title, and she had to kind of like be the manager and whatnot and not really defend her title. If she were to beat iyosky, then we might actually see that real run from Liv Morgan that we were clamoring for, right? And I think iyosky still has an opportunity to rebound and to be another challenger and to get another round, because at that point, the series would be tied 1-1. I think a lot of people are looking at it from the point of view as like, well, Liv is just gatekeep the title. She's John Moxley, put it in a briefcase. If you know, you know. And she's just held it hostage. So Io needs to win so that they can keep the momentum for the Women's World Championship going into the rest of the year, right? And I understand that, but you're not looking at it from the perspective of, say, Brock Lesnar and obafemi, right? Where everybody was like, well, Oba's got to beat Brock the second time and just call it quits. Well, no, Brock won and then tied it up 1-1. And then, you know, now we're going into the rubber match. So I think this could be that with Liv Morgan and iyosky, especially if there's really no one that is a formidable challenger that's knocking down the door for them. Becky Lynch has been missing for a long time as well. She could come back and get involved in the women's world title scene as well. I think Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan could be really interesting. I think Becky would have a lot to say about Liv Morgan. And maybe she comes back as a fan favorite, maybe not. Maybe they kept her off TV for that very reason. They want to bring her back as a fan favorite, as a veteran, you know, that the crowd enjoys. There's a possibility of that. There's also a possibility that Becky Lynch could get involved in the world title picture by going after iyosky, and then they can have a couple of matches before we go back to iyosky and Liv Morgan. So I personally feel that Liv Morgan is going to win here. And the reason why is because there's just a lot of questions concerning iyosky and Liv Morgan and the health of them both. And I also see that the Judgment Day are starting to win titles again. I know that they're set to implode, but they've been teasing implosion for a long time. So who knows when that's going to happen. So I personally feel that if you have Roxanne with the briefcase, Liv with the title, that's where you can really start to like get into 2027 where the Judgment Day is no more, right? So I'm going to go with Liv Morgan. I don't know how many other people are picking Liv Morgan. I feel like I'm the only one, but it's a dark horse pick. I've decided it makes sense to me, but I'd love to know what you guys think of that, but we're going to move on. And speaking of tied 1-1, obafemi against Brock Lesnar in a Hell in a Cell match. I think it goes without saying obafemi wins this match. Bottom line. Now, I've heard stories that Brock Lesnar isn't retiring and that he's still going to be around as a special attraction. Lord knows the WWE needs it, right? What the WWE needs the most of is new blood in the upper to main event of the card. They need to build Oba up as someone that is going to eventually become the main guy. This is like a similar scenario with Roman Reigns back when he left the Shield. The only difference is the crowd is ready to get behind obafemi. So beating Brock in a Hell in a Cell, snapping his streak the way that Brock snapped the Undertaker's streak of WrestleMania, which was way bigger, by the way. Undertaker was like 21 matches, and Brock is like 2 matches in Hell in a Cell against the Undertaker, ironically enough. But the story is right there. Its story's been told. Undertaker gave dap to obafemi in NXT, which was to basically give him the green light to being the next top guy right there. That was like a total passing of the torch moment. And now we're in a situation where Oba has an opportunity to beat the one who beat the one in 21-1 or whatever, you know? So I'm going to go with obafemi. I think it goes without saying here. I think this is an opportunity for them to shake hands. I think they're best friends in real life, or at least good friends in real life. And I've been looking at Oba. He's in great shape. Seems like he might be working out with Brock, but I don't know that for sure. But I think right now, this is the opportunity to give Oba the victory and move on from this program into whatever else he's going to do, maybe in a feud with the Bloodline, to build to his eventual match with Roman. That's going to more than likely happen at WrestleMania unless some final boss comes out and says that it's now time for The Rock to go against Roman Reigns. Who knows? Oba's got the win here. A six-man tag team match, LA Knight, Solo Sikoa, Royce Keys against the Bloodline, Jacob, Jay, and Jimmy. The three J's. You add one more person on either side and make it an 8-man tag, and this is a Survivor Series wild card match from 1995. Okay, this is a real random pairing. I understand why they have Jacob, Jay, and Jimmy teaming up, because they're not so much on the same page, and they're wondering if they can work as a unit. And obviously, they're doing it for Roman and for the family here, so I can understand that. Solo we really found Solo up in this piece. We found Solo, the Solo that's going to be a superstar in this business through this whole program. And it would be really, really sad if after all of this, where the crowd is actually chanting Solo, Solo, for him to turn on Royce Keys and LA Knight. And I know a lot of people feel like that's going to happen, and it wouldn't shock me in the slightest. However, I think this is the time to really establish Solo Sikoa's character so that we can figure out what he's actually capable of. I think he's got a lot of charm. He's got a lot of charisma. And I think this is the type of a character that the WWE needs right now. You know, they have a Danhausen. They have an LA Knight. They have an Obafemi. They have a Trick Williams. They have a Javon Evans. They have a Penta. They need someone like Solo Sikoa, the master of ceremonies type of a character that's going to make you laugh, that's going to put on a match where you can see his intensity. They need this type of character right now more than ever. So I hope they keep this up. Do I think that they're going to win this match? I do not, unfortunately. Believe that the Bloodline is going to win, because I think LA Knight, Royce Keys, and Solo Sikoa is going to win. You see how I swerved you? Swerve. Fa! I swerved you. Well, Fa, too, is going to lose this one with Jimmy and Jay, because I got LA Knight, Royce Keys, and Solo Sikoa coming out victorious. If Solo turns on LA Knight and Royce Keys, then this whole prediction goes to crap. However, I am confident that what they see in Solo is what I see in Solo and what you all see in Solo, which is that it's time for him to go on his solo run all the way to the top of the WWE. So I've got the makeshift six-man tag team partners, LA Knight, Royce Keys, and Solo, coming out victorious. What would their name be anyway? Solo Keys in the Night? Solo Keys in the Night? Rolls Royce Knight? I don't know. Something. You guys let me know. What would their six-man tag name be? So I got them coming out victorious. Singles match, Nick Aldis against Gunther. Gunther has now been put in a situation where is he going to try and attempt to retire Nick Aldis, who hasn't had a match in 3 years and is coming out of pseudo-retirement? And is he not going to be the GM anymore? Because I heard that from Adam Pearce, it seemed like if he signs the contract, then he's no longer allowed to be the GM of SmackDown, which means now he's going to have to become a professional wrestler, no? So maybe that's why they're not throwing out this idea of if Nick Aldis loses, he retires. Maybe that's it. I think it's entirely possible Drew McIntyre can show up, who has had problems with Nick Aldis as well, and cost him the match. I can definitely see that happening. That's a strong possibility there. I think Gunther's obviously going to get the win here. I think he's going to be victorious. And I think you could see something with Drew being involved. I don't know if he's still filming Highlander. I think seeing something with Drew can then establish Nick Aldis against Drew McIntyre. I mean, Nick Aldis is way too big to just have this one match and then call it quits. He's in the twilight of his 30s. Let him go on a semi-run in the WWE. I think he's got the chops, he's got the charisma, he's got the talent. Let's see what he's capable of and throw on some banger after banger after bangers. It's sad that Sheamus isn't going to be a part of this, because I'd like to see Sheamus and Aldis against McIntyre and Gunther. I think you would have a match right there. That's money right there. But yeah, let's let Aldis go out there and wrestle and kick a little ass, and let's see what he's capable of, But I don't think he's getting the win here. He's not going to be victorious. I got Gunther coming out on top on this one, and hopefully this reestablishes the dominance of Gunther, because he is definitely fallen off a cliff here. And I like the build-up here. Speaking of this lack of build-up, I like the way that they've built this up. I am a big fan of the way that they built this up, and I hope that it's executed, and I hope they give this match enough time to tell the story in the ring. Now that we've heard the story before the ring, let's see what they tell in the ring. I think I got confidence in this being one of the better matches of the night. In a 6-woman tag team match, the Bella Twins and Paige go against Fatal Influence. Now, Tatum Paxley was long rumored to be coming into the WWE, getting called up from the NXT. And I always thought Tatum Paxley, just because of her style and the way she looks and her demeanor, would be perfect with Paige. I think it would work really, really well. I don't know if they're going to bring Tatum in as a fan favorite or as a villain. Something tells me that Paige is going to turn on the Bella Twins, and I don't know why. All I know is that Paige hated the Bella Twins for a long time, and they called her to be a tag team partner because Nikki got hurt. And suddenly they're like buddies, and they're like total divas and all that. I would like to see Paige turn on them and give Fatal Influence the win. Not necessarily go with Fatal Influence. Fatal Influence getting a win at SummerSlam would further give them confidence and build them up and ingratiate them into the main roster by putting them in a top match like this at SummerSlam and giving them a win over the veterans. I think this would tell the story of the old guard passing the torch to the new guard, because I think JC Jane and Laney Reed and Fallon Henley have what it takes to be top stars in this business. They need a veteran presence to give them the torch and see what they're capable of, and I think they did a fairly decent tag match on Saturday night's main event. So I got Fatal Influence coming up victorious. I got an asterisk, though, and I think that it's possible that Paige could turn on them, or maybe they can hint at it. I still think Paige and Tatum Paxley work really well. In my head, it just seems like it works out. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see Paige go heel. If not tonight, maybe they plant the seeds. So I got Fatal Influence coming out victorious. And now the main event of night one. I never would have expected this to be the main event of night one. It's kind of wild. But it's CM Punk defending his undisputed WWE Championship against Cody Rhodes. I've seen memes of Beavis and Butthead. I've seen memes of AC Slater against Zach Morris. If you know, you know. They really got down in the locker rooms. They were throwing fists. They were 5-knuckle shuffles to the face. It really looked like a real fight on that episode of Saved by the Bell. If you are well aware of that, then you know what I'm talking about. I've seen Tommy as the Green Ranger and Jason as the Red Ranger. I've seen all kinds of memes out here with this. As far as the buildup goes, I understand what they're trying to do. You don't really need much to hype up Cody Rhodes against CM Punk. But you need a little bit more than what they gave us. They really didn't. I felt like they were holding back. That's my opinion. It's not that it was a bad buildup. It's not like they could have done something extraordinary. Like, they didn't have to. But I just felt like they were holding back. The story, there was so much of a better story. And I understand that the subtle story going into this is that, is CM Punk going to turn on Cody Rhodes? Because everyone else has done it. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Drew McIntyre, the list goes on and on. All of these guys have turned on Cody Rhodes, John Cena, Randy Orton. Everybody that has been his friend has turned his back on him. And CM Punk is saying that he's not going to do it. So I think there can be a moment here where CM Punk thinks about doing something dastardly, and the crowd goes, oh my God, he's going to really do some crazy stuff right now to Cody Rhodes. And then he decides not to, but then Cody might notice that, and whatever it is, whether it's a tool shed, a hammer from the tool shed, a steel chair, the championship belt, whatever it is, WWE likes to do, like, the weapons aren't so crazy. It's not going to be like shear scissors or like a power drill. And maybe Cody thinks about picking it up, and the crowd, is going to dive into that. I think they're going to play with the crowd's emotion a lot, and hopefully they give it enough time to tell a story in the ring. There's no two wrestlers that I feel more confident in putting on a match of the night and giving the fans what they want, a true championship wrestling match, than CM Punk and Cody Rhodes. They're gonna tear the house down because no one does it better than them. They can tell a great story. I love that CM Punk has gotten himself in phenomenal shape, and Cody Rhodes and CM Punk is a match that we've been waiting to see since CM Punk returned to AEW. So I don't think they're going to disappoint. As far as who I think is going to win, I've got CM Punk. And contrary to what you're going to hear from other content creators and journalists alike, I really hope we don't get an overbooked match where there's a lot of interference, where Travis Scott returns and low blows Cody Rhodes, where I couldn't even say it with a straight face. You guys. I'm sorry I brought that name up. I'm hoping that we don't see anything like that, and I hope that it's just a decisive finish that they do similar to CM Punk and Roman Reigns, where they just have a great match and CM Punk comes out victorious. I've got CM Punk coming up victorious, and I think what could happen that would be interesting is if Punk goes to shake Cody's hand and Cody doesn't shake his hand. That is something that I would like to see. And then later on in SmackDown, Cody can say, "I'm sorry, it was the heat of the moment, I didn't mean it," and then shake his hand backstage. They can always go that route. I know that everybody wants to see heel Cody Rhodes. I don't think it's time yet. I don't think they have somebody that's going to fill that space. It ain't going to be CM Punk because I don't know how much longer he's going to be in the main event and be wanting to wrestle a full-time schedule. So don't give me that CM Punk is going to take over for Cody Rhodes crap, because it's crap. He's older. He's not a young guy. You need a young guy to come in and give us 10 to 15 years of what Cody is doing. So I don't think they're ready yet. But they can be subtle. They can be subtle. And so I think they can sow some of that. They can thread in some of that in this match. CM Punk comes out victorious. Now, usually I split these up. Maybe I'll still do it. Yeah, I'm going to split it up. So tune in. If you want to find out what I think of Night 2, tune in to the Portal of Pro Wrestling channel, the Wrestling Old Head channel, and I'm going to be dropping Night 2 really soon. So let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think of Night 1, and who do you think's coming out victorious, and what do you think of my predictions. And I'm going to see you in this next video, because I'm going to pop on over there. So this video is not super duper long. I understand. I don't want to take up too much of you guys' time. So I thought about combining the videos, but yeah, you know what? Just tune into the next video, and we can use this as a split up. You know what I mean? So check out the next video for Night 2, and I'll see you in the next one.